Well played by Anderson, backward of point, and he's going to take 4 runs for that. There wouldn't be the slightest doubt about that. Anderson not too pleased with having elected to play the shot so early in his innings, but picking up 4 runs just the same.
The English slip cordon, waiting expectantly, but as yet have had nothing to raise their hopes about. Bob Taylor, the keeper, and shot, Robert Anderson, good shot. 4 runs from the time it left the bat, backward of point. Anderson just giving himself enough room then to play the shot of the morning to date. And that's John Wright's first run in Test cricket. Yes, he's home safely, and Wright is off the mark. After 50 minutes of batting, Wright on 1, New Zealand on 34. Old to Anderson again. Oh, and he's gone. Flashing indiscreetly outside the off stump. Getting a top edge, and wicketkeeper Bob Taylor having the simplest of catches, and New Zealand have lost their first wicket with the total at 42. Robert Anderson dismissed, caught Bob Taylor, bowled old for 28. Ian Botham, the Somerset all-rounder, will now be bowling to Geoffrey Howarth. Runs for Howarth. He's looking for 2, and he'll probably get 2 as Hendrick has a long run in from fine leg. And 2 to Howarth. He moves to 5. A very delicate leg glance. The ball only running about 40 yards from the bat. New Zealand 67 for the loss of 1 wicket. Geoffrey Howarth. More runs. Hitting the ball well. Past Rose at mid-on. He's got a long chase. There'll certainly be 2 in it. There may be 3. Yes, there'll be 3 as Rose gets to the ball just inside the boundary. And a good return back to Botham at the bowler's end. Howarth gets 3 for the shot and moves to 8.
Well, that was a chance there, but Roop had to cover a lot of ground going to his left. And Wright very lucky to get away with it, but Graham Roop, if there'd been a 3rd slip, it would have been a straight catch, but only 2 slips, and Roop making a valiant attempt to pick it up.
Nice shot through mid-wicket, taking 1 run. Miller getting to it. They're going to take 2 and get them quite comfortably. Miller's return a little high, but quite a nice return. 2 runs to Wright. He goes to 30. That's a fine shot from John Wright, and it won't reach the boundary. 1 is taken, going for 2. It's a very long run for both of them. It might get to the fence, and does. 4 runs.
96 for 1. Old bowling to Howarth. Howarth on 13, Wright on 38. That could well be out. And Howarth indeed is out. Caught both of them in the covers off an outside edge from a ball that lifted. A simple catch. Burgess again awaits Hendrick. This time Burgess is off the mark. He'll get 4, and that's the New Zealand 100. Burgess, a fine free-flowing shot through point, gets 4 for the shot, and New Zealand 101 for the loss of 2 wickets. The 100 coming up in 176 minutes.
Steering that one down through the gully position. They're going back for 2. With Roop doing the fielding. One of the wilder throws we've seen from the English fieldsman today. Burgess getting 2. He's 7.
Bob Willis. More runs for John Wright. Just the single this time as he plays it off the full face of the bat to Mike Hendrick at 3rd man. Right to 46. New Zealand to 113. Bob Willis bowling to Burgess. One bowls right through the gap. Mark Burgess, the New Zealand captain, out bowled by Willis for 9. New Zealand 3 for 114.
This could be the 50. It is. It's 1 run. They're looking for 2. Rose round the boundary, does the fielding. Wright takes his 2 runs. 51 on the board, and a very fine performance from John Wright.
Willis. Congdon gets more runs. Not an elegant shot, but he fends it off his hip. It may well be 4. Rose is giving chase. It is indeed 4.
Kendrick to Parker. Ooh, he was very lucky not to drag that one onto his stumps, and will go down for 4 runs. No, we've got Miller right down on a wide, fine leg boundary, so he only gets 2 for it, but he could well have chopped that onto his stumps. Willis to Congdon. Rather to Parker, and Parker getting right on top of that one. That's a much more confident shot. Through the covers, Randall with a long chase. They're coming back for 2. And Willis doing Miller picking up the ball with a good return.
Parker 12 facing Bob Willis. Fine shot, 4 runs, no question about it. A magnificent square cut off the back foot to John Parker. Simply turned the point fieldsman into a pillar of salt. Gone, caught at short backward square leg by Brian Rose. Off the bowling of Bob Willis. Parker getting on the inside of an in-swinger from Willis, and all he succeeded in doing, planting it straight into the capacious hands of Brian Rose. And that's the 5th New Zealand wicket to fall for 191. It's to be hoped that Warren Lees doesn't suffer from claustrophobia, because he has 8 men clustered close around him. He's off the mark, might get 2. Miller after it, but only taking the 1. A short 4-arm jab past the gully field. So Lees off the mark.
Old to Lees. And that could be a catch. He's out. Well caught, Bob Taylor. Lees sparring and getting a glove, and Bob Taylor behind the stumps taking a magnificent catch off Old. New Zealand 194 for 6 with Old bowling to Congdon. Well up, and Congdon flashes and caught behind. Well, that's a severe blow to New Zealand. New Zealand now 7 for 194, and Bevan Congdon gives Bob Taylor his 3rd catch of the innings. It's very attacking slip field. 3 slips, 2 gully, as Willis bowls to Richard Hadley. Hadley tees off. It's over cover. Derek Randall won't get it. It'll be 4 runs probably. Yes, Randall cannot get to it. Richard Hadley teeing off on that one. A short pitch ball from Bob Willis, and getting a bit of outside edge and hitting it high over Derek Randall in the covers, and the ball racing away to the fence for 4. So Willis it is to Richard Hadley. Short over the slips. That'll be 4. They won't stop that. And Willis dropping that ball very short to Richard Hadley, and Richard Hadley, rather inelegant in playing it, flicked it away over the top of Jeff Miller in the gully for 4 runs.
There it is. A lovely shot. It's going through extra cover. Boycott getting to it. They've taken 1. They're going to take 2. Boycott couldn't restrict the scoring to better than 2. 26 to Hadley. He is this time, because he's absolutely bowled all ends up by Botham hitting the bottom of the leg stump, and that was the end of the innings. All out 2-2-8. Stephen Bock bowled for 4 by Ian Botham. And a loud appeal, and that's got to be close. My word, it was turned down, but heavens above, that was extremely close.
So Richard Collins to Brian Rose. And he's got a pickle around the corner and he's out. Great catch. A great catch, and it's 100th wicket for Richard Collins.
And what a happy man Richard Collins will be. Becomes the third New Zealander to capture 100 Test wickets, and a brilliant catch by Warren Lees. And Collins pitching the ball just outside the line of the leg stump. Rose attempting the leg glance, getting a very fine edge, and Lees covering a lot of ground to his right, taking a brilliant one-handed catch. And Jeff Howe very close there and on the offside. Probably no more than 4 or 5 feet away. Full toss. And bowled round his leg. Stephen Box, first Test wicket. Not a good delivery, but Miller playing all round it and bowled. So Jeff Miller out on a vital breakthrough for New Zealand just prior to stumps. And let's have a look at it again. Box bowling well up. In fact, a full toss. Miller playing right around it and losing his leg stump. Fine shot, Jeff Boycott. Wright and Howe giving chase. They won't stop it. That's 4 runs to Boycott. Boycott to 46. And that's the English 100 up.
And it's Richard Collins bowling to Bob Taylor. And Taylor getting runs for this as England go up to 108. And that's the second boundary of the morning's play. Richard Collins yesterday captured his 100th Test wicket. Bowled very well indeed. And he's gone. That's the first wicket of this morning, and Richard Collins is the taker. Bob Taylor, the overnight watchman, caught and bowled Collins for 8 in England, 108, the loss of 3 wickets.
Perhaps the two most experienced players on the field. And that will be Boycott's 50, and it's 4 runs backward of point. Anderson's after, Wright's after it, may get it, does so just inside the boundary. And Boycott making his 3rd run, quite a difficult one. He ran the first one slowly, but it's 3 runs and Boycott's 50. Boycott goes to 52, the total to 116.
Oh, sparring, and he's caught brilliantly. Caught brilliantly by Mark Burgess, that second slip. That was a good bit of cricket by New Zealand. Richard Hadley pitching just short of the length and moving the ball away off the seam. Graham Roop facing his first delivery from Hadley. And a good one too. Moving away again, and Roop nowhere in line, flashing quite a bit of fresh air between bat and ball.
Hadley again.
And this time he's gone, caught behind. So the long, painful innings of Graham Roop has at last come to an end, and fittingly, it should be Richard Hadley that takes his wicket. England 5 for 183, Roop out for 37. Both of them will get runs from a shot which he has not played well. He possibly might even get 4, but no, Dale Hadley will overhaul the ball down at deep mid-on. Meanwhile, the batsmen have crossed for 3 runs, but both of them were seeking to drive that ball out on the offside and got the inside edge of the thick inside edge of the bat, and the ball ran away to mid-on. And he's gone. Caught off the bowling of Richard Collins, and the much prized scalp of Geoffrey Boycott has been captured by Bevan Congdon and Richard Collins. England 6 for 188. That's the end of Boycott with his score at 77.
Chris Old, the man who wrecked the New Zealand first innings with 6 wickets for 54, facing the fire of Richard Hadley. And bowled, clean bowled, and that looked to me as if Chris Old was looking for another short pitch delivery, but Richard Hadley pitched the ball right up, and Old certainly giving himself plenty of room.
Congdon on his way back. Takes a minimal time to bowl an over, does Bevan Congdon. Little outside leg stump, another shriek, and he's given him out. He's given him out. Congdon bowled the floater yet again, and Edmonds is gone.
And those will be the first runs after lunch, as Randall has a long chase in the covers. They're coming back for 2, and that will be the limit. Nicely clipped square over the wicket. They'll get 2. It might even beat Edmonds to the boundary. They come back for the second. He stopped it just inside the ropes. They've gone for 3. It's Rose. Rose who's fielding just backward of square. Rose and Edmonds tall and blonde, but it's 3 runs to Howarth. And he took it. He's gone for the catch. Rupert picks it up, and he's given out. John Wright is out. It looked as if it might have fallen short of Root, but he scrambled for it. And that's the breakthrough after lunch that England desperately need. And flicking that one away, Mark Burgess off the mark for the boundary. And he really flicked his wrists over the top of that one. Burgess 4 and New Zealand 87.
Willis to Howarth. A nasty ball. There's a bit of glove to it, and Howarth is out. He's caught at backward square by Edmonds. It was. It lifted viciously onto his gloves. It took gloves and bit of bat and flew backward of square. Edmonds did the rest. So that's the 3rd New Zealand wicket has fallen, with the total at 93. Ooh, that's a good-looking shot. That's 4 runs. A magnificent blow. Oh, waited for that to come up to him, did Warren Lees, and simply carted it past extra cover. A grand shot. It'll be Mike Hendricks to Warren Lees.
New Zealand 116 for 7. Confident appeal, and he's out. Warren Lees getting a ball from Mike Hendrick, keeping very low, forcing Lees back onto the back stump, and Lees right in front, being given out. LBW from the bowling of Mike Hendrick for 11. New Zealand in worse position, 8 for 116. Tees off to a well-pitched up delivery outside the off stump, and 4 runs from the time it left the backward of point. Richard Collins, his first attacking shot of the innings, and the match moves to 6. New Zealand to 1, 2, 3 for 8. And this has been a pretty dismal display by New Zealand since lunch. Lunch is 1 for 75, and in a position to be able to force a New Zealand victory. But since then, some fine English bowling by Botham, Hendrick, and particularly Willis. As Botham it is, bowling to Hendrick, to Hadley. And that's in the air, and that's all over. New Zealand are all out. New Zealand's last wicket has fallen. Dale Hadley is out. Caught Roop, bowled Botham for 2. New Zealand.
Boycott, awaiting Richard Collins. And he's bowled him! What a magnificent start! Well, Richard Collins had Boycott all ends up, and what a magnificent start to the England second innings from New Zealand's point of view. Well, I must say, with Boycott out, he was the man that would worry everybody. And Richard Collins comprehensively beating him. A rare sight as Richard Collins moving in to bowl to the new batsman, Jeff Miller. And a good first ball. Well, Hadley's decided he's going to fire it a little quicker. He's getting a little bit of bounce too, considering we're into the 4th day of this test. From the same end, earlier this afternoon, we saw Bob Willis rather, doing his damage and extracting quite a bit of lift. So no doubt this gave considerable heart to Richard Hadley. Rose, not happy, and Richard Hadley bouncing this one into him. And he was very lucky not to get his gloves there, but he was too late.
Cutting back from outside the off stump, another good ball from Collins. And here's some overthrows, careless fielding by New Zealand here. A return to Dale Hadley. Collins wasn't looking and simply gave a run away. Rose takes a single for the overthrow, and Bock still sitting there. It was Dale Hadley that threw the ball. That might inspire Richard Collins to bowl a little more furiously at this time. Geoffrey Miller. Well, if the New Zealand batting has let them down, the bowlers have not. The opening assault by Collins and Hadley, full of fire. Miller has a look around the field. Collins on his way. Played and missed. A beautiful ball from Collins. Collins to Miller. And Miller bit more into it. 7 for 2 wickets, England, and my word, the cat's among the pigeons. Jubilant New Zealanders gathered around as Collins gets his 2nd wicket, and a disconsolate batsman on his way to the pavilion. 2 for 7, and we'll have to look at this one again because Collins morally dismissed him before. He pitches the ball just on a line of the middle and off stump. He plays, catches the edge, it flies to 3rd slip. And Robert Anderson does the job in the gully. A magnificent effort by Collins. 2 wickets already for 2 runs, and England reeling at 2 for 7. Well, Derek Randall to face Hadley. Randall, a man who likes to play his shots outside the off stump, and I'm quite positive that Hadley will feed him. Plenty of deliveries zipping away off the seam. Edgy shot from Randall, but he's going to get 4 runs for it. It's going right down to the 3rd man boundary. Anderson chasing furiously and will get it. Back comes the return, but they've strolled through for a comfortable 3. And the scoreboard, Boycott bowled by Collins for 1, Miller out for 4, and we have Randall at the crease on 5 and Rose on 4. 14 for 2. And that's tasty stuff, believe me, as Hadley comes in to Rose. And a beautiful ball. Rose should have played it. That lifted off a length, and Rose elected to duck, but it struck him behind the rump somewhere. Hadley really watches his wrist as he bowls. Plenty of room, and he tried to duck. It came through and hit him rump high, and perhaps an appeal for LBW might have been justified. It was probably dropping onto the stumps, but Rose is in some pain. So, with Roop just in to replace the injured Rose Hadley bowls to him. And hits him on the shoulder immediately. And the two confronting one another in mid-pitch clearing, and here it comes. Plenty of fire. lifting high and wallops Roop on the left shoulder high up. It was another nasty blow, and Roop took it and then glared at Hadley down the pitch. What an over. Richard Collins is ready, and so is Randall, and they're on their way. Playing forward, and that's a good shot straight off the middle of the bat past point. Anderson running furiously after it, getting to it just inside the boundary. He can't. It's 4 runs. Randall to 9 from a good square drive. England 18 for 2. Yorker left him on the pass. Tremendous appeal. Given it and flung. Beautiful stuff. Well, here it comes, and with the Yorker from Collins. This is the ball that wrapped him on the pads, plumb in front of the stumps. There could be no question about it whatsoever.
This crowd really getting worked up, and the New Zealand haka, while Collins awaiting to bowl the first ball to Botham. Collins to Botham. Swinging outside the line of the leg stump, and Botham letting the ball just run off his thigh. Jeff Howarth, a deep fine leg. But this crowd certainly working into fever pitch at the moment. 3 for 18, still 119 required. Richard Collins with a big smile over his face, and well he might. 3 for 9, a wicket in each of his first 3 overs. Attacking field, 3 slips, a gully, a man close at point, and a man at short square leg. That's a wasted delivery. We saw Richard Hadley earlier on bowl round the wicket to the left-handed Brian Rose. Might not be bad tactics to the English right-handers, although he's got to bowl a different line completely. Hadley to Roop. That's another good delivery. That's about the line that Richard Hadley has got to maintain. The ball well up on the line of the off stump and moving away to the slip fielders. That's exactly where that one pitched, and Roop playing well inside it with his feet nowhere in position. Let's have a look at it again. Hadley bowling the ball up outside the off stump, and Roop not getting his feet into position, playing away from the body, getting the outside edge, and Warren Lees taking a very fine catch behind the stumps in his right hand. Richard Collins to Botham. And that will be 4. The ball well tossed up by Collins, and Botham on the front foot, driving the ball very firmly past Dale Hadley at mid-on, and he's the only man in front of the wicket on the onside. So Ian Botham off the mark with 4.
But he got a hold of that one, and that's 4. Written all over. That's Botham's second boundary of his innings of 12, and England now 4 wickets down.
Anybody's game from now.
And Botham got hold of that one, and there's 4 runs. Nicely picked up, far too short. And Botham probably demonstrating to what some of the more experienced batsmen should have been doing to Richard Hadley when he continued to bowl short. Well, the result could have been very different. That ball dropping down there, and he could have easily knocked it onto his stumps. And he's looked at that one, he's going to be out. Richard Hadley. for Richard Hadlee, capturing the wicket there of Ian Botham. And it was a short ball again from Richard Hadlee, but Botham had made his mind up where that was going to go, but his timing was out. The ball short, Botham back, up over the top, but he was cramped to try and pull that one round. And waiting almost underneath it was Stephen Bott, with backward and square, straight into his pocket. And so England have lost their 5th wicket, and the score at 38, still requiring 99 to win. A chant of Hadlee as he moves into bowl for the new batsman, Chris Holt. Well, it was the first ball from Richard Hadlee to the new batsman, Chris Holt. He had a bit of difficulty in getting it away around the corner. And now watch the pick-up and throw of Stephen Bott, who had some ground to cover. He was going away from the wicket, turned, and in one throw with the left hand, it was a beauty.
48 for 6. Held back a little, well played. 4 runs, lovely shot by Chris Holt. Onto the front foot, the most elegant shot in cricket, the off drive, and it was played with a degree of confidence that only the master possesses. A grand shot from Chris Holt.
Edmonds 6, Old 9, facing Richard Hadlee with England 6 down for 53. Confident appeal, and he's gone! Yet another wicket for New Zealand. England requiring 137 for win. Currently, they are 7 for 53. Who would have thought it? Collins to Edmonds. What a fine shot. Equally well fielded by John Wright. Hadlee to Hendrick. Oh, and that was perilously close to the top of the stumps. 2 men in front of the wicket on either side. That's out! John Parker has second attempt, has caught Mike Hendricks at first slip, and England lose their 8th wicket. 8 for 53. Have a look at this one again. Richard Hadlee well up to Hendrick outside the off stump. Hendrick, a tentative prod, getting the outside edge. John Parker, first slip, having 2 attempts to catch it and finally taking it to the delight of the New Zealanders, and in particular Richard Hadlee. And that's the last ball of Richard Hadlee's over, and the last ball of the day's play, and an incredible day's play it's been. 17 wickets have fallen. New Zealand dismissed in their second innings for 123. England currently 53 for 8. The men to do the damage for England was Bob Willis, 5 for 35. For New Zealand, Richard Hadlee, 4 for 21 off 10 overs. Richard Collins, 3 for 33. Played wide of Wright in the covers. They're looking for 2. Edmonds wants 2. But Wright very quickly across, and a fine piece of fielding by John Wright. He wasn't giving Willis and Edmonds the opportunity of taking that second run. 62 for 8. Richard Hadlee. Oh, and that nearly got through. All well up to Willis, stretching right forward with bat well away from the pad. Beats Wright in the covers. Only the single. Willis isn't interested in any more. Willis to 3. England 63 for 8. fine. That's the one they wanted. Phil Edmonds. Richard Hadley pitching that ball up. And Edmonds hanging the ball. A simple catch to John Parker at first slip. Let's have a look at it again. Richard Hadley well up. Edmonds playing at it, getting the outside edge, and John Parker at first slip, making no mistake. England have lost their 9th wicket for 63, and perhaps the last nail in the coffin for England.
Richard Hadley. To Rose. There's prodding off his hips and getting a single down to fine leg. Now with a fairly long run, only the one run. Rose to 5. And one hand coming off the bat instantly. Well bowled, Collins, well batted by Rose. The end of the over, 64 for 9. And a bouncer. And umpire Monteith could conceivably have something to say. He doesn't. Apparently umpire Monteith considered the ball was far enough up. Willis is walking away to square leg and complaining. Here's the replay. And it was not that far short of the length. Not that far short of a length at all. Willis, in the meantime, has had a chat with umpire at square leg, umpire Gardner, and has been told to get on with the game. Ineffectual prod by Bob Willis. Bat and pad nowhere near together, a dangling bat. Fired into the pitch by Hadley, just short of a length, and there's the bat groping for it one-handed. An incredible shot. Could have gone anywhere. Willis not too pleased about all this, that he's being assaulted. Well, sauce for the goose. Again a stab, and he's gone. That's the wicket that's wanted. Taken by... The stumps are going right, left and centre. The crowd are telling it for you. An absolute bedlam here at the Basin Reserve. When it calms down, we'll tell you just what did happen. He was caught by Robert Anderson off the bowling of Richard Hadley, and